Welcome to the Welding Business Owners Podcast, where our podcasts are late but our bids are on time. I'm your host, Kevin, with JMW Fabrication. Today's episode is a special one. It was recorded live at Fabtech 2023 between myself, Jason Becker from the Art Junkies podcast, and Max Ceron from the CWB podcast as part of the first live podcast forum at Fabtech. Now, like we've done before with our crosspods, Jason has already released episode number 1, so go on over to the Art Junkies podcast and check out the first part of our 3-part talk. This is part number 2, and next week, Max Ceron from the CWB podcast is going to be putting out episode number 3, so be sure to catch that. I really want to thank Jason and Max for putting this together, and especially Danielle from the CWB Association. She rocked it on this one. There's a lot that goes into this, and they took care of it all. So kudos to you guys. Thanks for letting me be a part of this, and here's the episode.
So is there anything that you were looking forward to this year specifically?
So this year was a presentation year for me. So I ended up doing 2 presentations. So I was pumped for that. I used to do more technical presentations, but now I've really gotten into that workplace development stuff. And I'm really enjoying that. I'm really enjoying trying to be a leader in helping companies get to their next level instead of just, being like, hey, this is an awesome way to weld, or this you can shave some time, which I enjoyed in the manufacturing world doing that. But I feel like there's a lot of people doing that, right? There's a lot of people that are like, hey, this is a way to save money or make more money. So I was like, okay, well, how about how to develop a workforce or how to attract people? Because everyone's got this problem with the skills gap, the mentorship gap, the age gap, all the gaps. There's a gap for everything. And what do you do about it? Okay, we can complain about this all day about finding talent. We can complain about, but there's got to be some solutions. So I've spent the last few years really researching and working on that. And now both my presentations this week were on how to solve these things and tools. Not just let's not just gripe about it and go home pissed off, but what are some tools we can do for attraction and for keeping employees and training them up to where you want them to be. And so that kept me busy.
So what are some of those? What are some of those solutions? Well,
one of the great ones, though, the one I did today is on essential skills. So in Canada, the government invested a pile of money into a program that kind of got abandoned because there was a voting change. All government things. One government comes in, sets up a whole thing. They get elected out. The next government comes in. Everything that was done before is gone, right?
Sounds familiar.
It's the same around the world, right? But this thing that they did with essential skills, now they just rebranded it and kind of resurrected it because it's we invested all this money. Why don't we actually do something with it? The idea is that there's 9 skills, and they could have come up with 30 or 5, but they went through surveys and businesses, and it was a lot of organizations were a part of this, and they came up with these 9 skills numeracy, literacy, digital knowledge, even just collaboration or language or communication. So there's these 9 skills, and they broke down 350 professions, including welding, fabrication, machining, millwrights, everything, to be okay, if you want an employee and you're trying to hire an employee, what is it you're actually looking for? You say, I want a welder. Well, what do you mean when you say I want a welder? Are they going to be welding all day from the day they walk in the door till the moment they leave at 4 o'clock or 5? Well, no, they're not. Well, what else are they going to be doing? Well, they got to do some layout and they got to do this and that. Okay, well, now you're not really asking for a welder.
You're asking for a fabricator.
Yeah, you're asking for a fabricator, and fabricators get paid more and they have different skill sets and different education. Okay, well, I want a welder fabricator. Is that really what you want? Well, we also need, we're a small shop. They got to do a little bit of inventory maybe, or some material takeoffs, or we got to get them to do some POs. Okay, well, that's not a fabricator either now. So it's that process of
a supervisor.
That's right. Actually looking at your employees and being okay, look, this is the skills our company needs, right? And the government has this website, and for anybody here, I can share that link. It's all free. It's paid for. It's done. Use it. And that's why I told the group today, I'm this stuff has been paid for, so use it. You can type in your profession, and it's well done. You Google, punch in welder, and it shows you on a scale of 1 to 5 every skill that a welder should have. 1 being good enough, 5 being you are a rock star, right? So number 1 was tape measure, was right there. Number 1, you should know how to read a tape measure, do simple division, find center on a circle, things like that. That should be basic welder stuff. And then 5 was squared arounds or welding deep penetration, reading a WPS, or understanding the documentation. And so it lays it out okay, I'm a shop, I want a welder. I don't do that. I only need up to here. So now when I'm interviewing and someone says, well, I don't really like math, you're like, okay, so I'll knock these off. That's not you, but maybe you're this person. Maybe this is the role for you, right? And there's lots of tools like that. There's lots of tools out there. Even LinkedIn has set up
they actually have
much
a bunch
stuff
of them
now.
you do virtually.
That's right. And you can punch in like for occupations and expectations. You want to know what you should be paying someone in your area? Go to LinkedIn. It will give you a very accurate representation of what people should make for what you're looking for. And you'll know if you're in the ballpark so that you don't look like an idiot at the interview being like, yeah, we'll give you $50K and literally like Walmart's paying 60 or something. Like, you don't want to do that because then your company looks dumb too. So you want to make sure you're somewhere in the ballpark and that you're asking for the right skill sets and being honest about it, right?
Yeah. I had a company that did that to me. They called me up. They're like, hey, we need an aluminum TIG and MIG welder and fabricator. And I said, cool, I know just the person. Called him up and said, hey, man, take the day off, from where you're working at now. Go down to this interview, got it lined up, everything's good.
Sounds rad. Yeah.
Sounds great, man.
Yeah.
He gets down there after he took an 8-hour day off. They put him through like a 4-hour weld test. And they're like, dude, this is some of the best welding we've ever seen. Mind you, he just got out of school, so this is what he's been doing.
Yeah.
They're like, well, we're willing to offer you $9 an hour.
I bet you are. I bet you are.
This was in 2016.
Oh man, that's below our minimum wage in Canada.
That's below our minimum wage here in the States, just about.
Yeah.
But I was like, I will never send anybody. But I mean, that company looked like a fool. Mm-hmm. And I mean, after all the skill sets that they were looking for, they were willing to offer $9 an hour. I will never send another student. I will never recommend anybody to your company.
No,
I will never buy from your company.
Yeah, that was another
That's
thing
the
I
way
talked
that you
about
treat your
with,
people.
With hiring is like, have you ever asked someone what their company, let's say you're at Fabtech and you do this.
Oh, yes.
Right, you do this, and then you go out and you say, hey, where do you work? Oh, I work at so-and-so company in so-and-so city. And you're like, oh, yeah, blah, 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 how you doing? Good. Yeah, I was thinking about going to go work at this company, like your company that you're at. I was thinking about working there. Have you heard anything about them? Have you ever, get the skinny. Yeah, get the skinny on your own company. You'll hear stuff, right? And it's good to know. It's good to know. Oh, yeah, I heard that they lay off people every year. They're all right place to work, but I heard the layoffs are brutal there. If whatever public perception is out there about where you are or where your company is, that stuff sticks.
Yeah.
That stuff sticks. If people, welders talk. We're a gossipy bunch. Like, we're like hens in the hen house, man. So, like, that's a fact.
We like to bitch.
Yeah, and if someone gets a raise or if some shop's paying more money, everyone knows pretty quick.
Yeah.
And if there's layoffs, everyone knows pretty quick. So it's good to know how the world looks at your company in terms of what you offer, right?
Yeah. That's how I got a buddy that's looking for work now. He wants to get back into education, and I told him, look at Glassdoor.com. Like, if you're going to work for a big reputable company or whatever, Glassdoor.com will give you kind of like the behind-the-scenes reviews of that company.
Yeah.
So, Max, back to your point. So, what is that implementation of that 1 through 5 scale look like? Like, so do they test people? Do they have tests and they match you up with the best person?
No.
Or how does that?
It's resources. So any occupation you're looking for, or even you can mix some. It'll give you the list of what was found through industry to be the expectations. So if you go to fabricator, there's a lot of number 4s and 5s. If you go to welder, there's less 4s and 5s, more 2s and 3s because it's just the base of knowledge needed. Again, this is not necessarily practical skills because we can teach just about anybody to burn a nice rod. That's usually not the part that sucks. It's all the other things that they got to do at work that tends to be the parts that suck.
Yeah.
So what you do to implement is that when you're hiring or if you're doing yearly reviews, you actually bring that out and be like, you're rocking this and this. These are the couple skills that, just industry has been saying that we need to get to. I think you need some help with this as a business manager. That's where you got to step in now and be like, what do we need to do to get you there?
Okay. Got
right? Either, and people always say, well, spend money. Not necessarily. It's not about sending everyone to school. I mean, that's an option. You can send some people for some training, awesome. But odds are somebody in your company is already good at that. Let's do some pairing up. Let's do some mentorship. Let's do a little bit of work. You know what? You're kind of struggling with this part. You're not really understanding blueprints too much. You've made a couple mistakes. And your tendency as an owner or a manager of a shop, when someone makes a mistake on a blueprint, is that you don't give them blueprints no more. Right? You're like, hey, you're not so good at that. You're just going to go over there, pull the trigger, buddy. Like, get out of the way.
Let's not skill them up. Let's cut them off.
That's right. And then that makes them bitter and want to leave because nobody likes feeling like they're missing the party.
Yep.
Nobody likes that feeling. So you say, okay, you know what? You did mess up your blueprint. We can work with that. Go work with Billy Sue over there, and Billy Sue rocks up blueprints. They're a little slow next week. We got some jobs coming up. Just watch, man. Just follow for a couple hours. Help them. Just be their helper for the day. Pick up on what they're doing. That'll be the fastest way they'll ever learn, other than you trying to berate it into their head, right? And that way you're starting to do gaps. Another thing is that try to match people up both ways. So Billy Sue might not be very good at communicating. Well, having someone follow them around for a couple days is going to force them to get better at communicating now. So now you're knocking off 2 check marks on 2 different lists just by matching up the essential skills of those workers.
Yeah, that's good.
That's a good plan of attack. So now we've talked one thing about trying to recruit more people into this industry. Once you get them in, how do you retain them?
Money. No, just kidding.
That does
Hey,
help.
man,
That helps.
shopping carts help, right?
Happiness.
Yeah. No, sense of satisfaction. I heard it once said so well. Feeling heard. Feeling heard is probably the best way to keep someone in a company. If you don't feel like like let's say something sucks at work, like your level got broken, and you tell
suck.
right, it does.
I've been there,
right? Oh yeah, for sure. Or you got one bubble of 3 left on your stupid level, and you tell your foreman, "Hey man, my level broke." If nothing gets done about that, like within a 24-hour period, you got resentment, and people will hold that. People will, and you might buy them a new level 6 months from now. Be like, here you go. It's kind of like that ship sailed, bro. Like I'm pissed off. Like you got to listen. Like you got to listen and be cognizant of like, okay, yeah, okay. And you know what? I'll put that on the list. I'll get, or be honest. Like we're not going to do another shopping, run for 2 weeks. Can you borrow one, or I'll see if I can find you one. Until then, we'll get some new ones. But you got to be upfront. So being heard is a big one. Another one is pathways. Like where do you want to be in 5 years? Like that is a question that's never asked during the interview process. Hey, you want to work here? Cool. You're doing 22, you just came out of school. Awesome. You got a couple tickets, right? You want to come here and work? Great. You can start Monday. Love you. You should ask one more question during the interview. Where do you want to be? Oh, I love drag cars, man. I'd love to build drag cars someday. Awesome. That's a cool thing. Yeah. Like, we don't do that. But we do have some automated equipment that we could teach you how to use, and that automated equipment will be the same type of automated equipment that you use to build drag cars. And that makes people be like, I'm invested now. Yep. And it's not extra money. It's not extra training. You're just giving them jobs that they want to do.
Yeah,
right?
You're giving them an opportunity to take it to that next level.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I was talking to the guy over at Fronius. He said that's something that question is not for the candidate. Mm-hmm. That question should be for the manager.
Yeah.
How can I get you there? Tell me where you want to be in 5 years,
and I'll get you there.
Let me figure out a way to help you. Now I've motivated you to stay here, so I need to figure out where I can put you to where you can hit your goals in 5 years. Then I'm not going to lose you. I'm going to be able to work on that retention.
Yeah.
Now I've got you motivated. I've got you compensated, and I'm providing you opportunities and giving you education.
Yeah, I've been kind of a littlest hobo myself. You guys had that show down here in the U.S. Littlest Hobo?
No.
Oh, Google it, man. You guys know what Littlest Hobo? Any Canadians here?
I got Caillou.
Let's not talk about Caillou. That is not a good example of Canada. All right, but Littlest Hobo was about this German Shepherd that was like a stray dog that would go around the country riding trains and helping people. So it's kind of a kid's show. It wasn't a cartoon, a real dog. But I felt like the Littlest Hobo because I would work for a company and love the first 2 to 3 years. And then kind of be for about 2 years, and then feel the need to get the hell out for the next couple. And the longest I've ever lasted anywhere 7 years, except for my own company, phase. Right? And at some point you start feeling bad. You don't feel great jumping jobs because people always tell you if you jump around jobs too much, it doesn't look good on a resume, right? And I was like, why am I jumping jobs so much? Like, why do I always feel like I hit a ceiling? And as soon as I said that word, I'm like, that's the word, a ceiling. Mm-hmm. As soon as I feel like I'm topped out or capped out, and not to do with money necessarily, but skill, like, oh yeah, here, you've gotten really good. You're going to train you here. And then you get to a point and it's like, now you're awesome. You're going to do that every day for the next 30 years. Immediately I'm like, yep, nope. Right? Like that. Nope. So it's like, try to avoid that ceiling because I am bad for that. I'm bad for if I don't feel useful or I got somewhere to grow, I start looking around. Like I can't help it. It's bad.
Yeah, no, I did the same thing. Every company I worked for. 'Cause, I mean, like the longest I ever stayed was the Marines, and that was because like I was on I had a contract. I couldn't just voluntarily separate myself. I mean, I could, but there's repercussions for that. But then I went to go work for the college, and I was there like 6 years as an educator, and I loved the job. But I got to the point where I was like, yeah, like I'm not leveling
There's
up
no
anymore.
advancement.
There's no advancement. It was the same thing when I was doing ironwork. It was like, okay, after my journeymanship was over, it's like, wow, this is all I'm ever going to be. Like, okay, I could be the general foreman one day, but that's only $1 more a week and a lot more stress
and which is
headache,
fine. Like, I mean, for people that love their gig, roll with it.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
it's a different mentality.
Yeah,
you can't
it's a
keep
way of
everybody happy. There's got to be. I'm always looking for that next step. How can I take, like my skills, my abilities to that next level? But there's some people that are, they're perfectly happy, pulling a trigger and punching a clock for 40 hours, clock in, clock out.
I honestly get jealous. I get jealous of that. I look at that sometimes. Like I worked in a night shop.
I could do that.
Yeah, as a manager, I had all this stress and all this stuff I had to plan, and I'd look at the guys working for me, and I'd be like, man, that's sweet. Just roll in, 6:30, have a coffee, turn on your machine 10 to 7. Weld. You see them chit-chatting and talking. Weld. Pilots come in, weld. 3:30, door out there, and they're having supper by 5 with the family and the kids. Meanwhile, I'm still there at 8 p.m. looking over blueprints and sweating and getting mad. And it's like, sure, I make more money, but they got peace.
Sometimes that sounds really good.
Yeah,
it really does.
That does, right? And it's just like, sure, it's only 60 or 70K, but that's still more than the average person makes. Like that's still nothing to sneeze at, right? Like,
yeah, but I mean, it just really depends on what you want in life. Do you want to go to that next level? Are you happy doing that? I've been in the same situation. Man, it'd be nice to just like not have to worry about all the stress and everything that comes with it. Like, just clock in, clock out.
Well, look at the stress you got now.
Oh yeah. I just keep piling on myself. I'm a glutton for punishment, man. It's like, oh yeah, I don't have enough going on. I'm going to open up a welding school.
Yeah.
Tell us about that, man. Tell us about this journey of the last 6 months for you, man. Like,
it's been a lot. So I mean, my buddy Rob over there, we started Underground Metalworks. We took it over for Stephanie Hoffman. We had previously thought about starting up a school on our own, and it just kind of divine intervention, providence. I don't know what it was, but Stephanie called up like right in the middle of us getting bids for equipment and tables and material and all that stuff, and she's like, "Hey, how about I just sell you my school
with everything in it?
With everything in it, like literally turnkey." The website's already set up, the Squarespace site's set up. She's got a whole merch line, all the equipment, the tooling, materials, consumables, everything that we needed. Tables, fixturing, belt sanders, like the whole nine. And by the way, I've got a 40-foot shipping container outside of my shop. We can just put everything in there and ship it down to Florida. So that's exactly what we did.
You just got to pay for the stamps, yeah.
Oh, yeah. But, the stamps are freaking expensive for a 40-foot shipping container full of equipment.
That's a lot of licking, eh?
Yeah, oh, yeah. And then we threw it on the back of a semi and had it brought down to Florida, pulled it off with a crane, and started setting everything up. But classes are going good. They're filling up kind of slow. We still have to, we're working on getting Google to relocate us. We're still listed in Forked River, New Jersey.
Oh.
So we've got to do some Google compliant stuff. Like here's our EIN. It shows this is our address. They're like, no, we need a picture of your storefront and a sign and all this stuff. So we're working on that to get listed in Orlando because people are still thinking that it's based out of New Jersey. So they're trying to reach out asking when the New Jersey schedule is going to be released. And we're like, no, that's not happening. But classes are filling up. We set up a testing facility in the back. So I'm back there when I'm not teaching class. We're back there, cutting coupons, testing welders, doing bends, sending stuff off for x-rays, developing procedures. It's been quite a bit. But it's a lot of fun. I enjoy that type of work. I get to make my own schedule. I'm not clocking in and clocking out like I'd like to at 40 hours a week. It's we're putting in a little bit extra, but I think that's what it takes. That's what's going to take to make me happy because I can constantly, whenever I need to, I can level up. I can take that next stage. I can take that next bite out of the whatever I want to get done. Yeah,
and in terms of the classes that you took from the original Underground Metalworks, same stuff? Yeah. Or have you developed some new ones that are cater more to your skills?
Yeah, we got some new stuff. So, I mean, we added flux core in there, flux core gas shielded. Yeah. So we have 1 week comprehensive course. Then we do a weekend TIG and a MIG class. We do a nighttime class, which is just like a mirror image of the daytime comprehensive class, but it's just spread out over 6 weeks, 2 nights a week. We are adding a pipe class in there. So that's the cool thing about having my own school is I don't have to rely on a state mandated curriculum. I don't have to worry about a director telling me this is what you need to teach. We've got employers out there that are like, hey, I need 5 of my welders. We're bidding on some aluminum spool gun work, and they don't typically operate aluminum spool gun, or they do, but it's not so great. Can you get them shored up? So we can bring them in there and do a custom one-on-one training for however long the client needs, and get their people skilled up and ready and sent back out. So a lot of incumbent training, a lot more opportunities. Yeah.
Is there a state curriculum in Florida that you could or would follow?
No. Even, I mean, like I had at one point, I had to follow the state mandated curriculum.
Yeah.
And then when I got to a point where I was working for a different college, and they said we don't fall under that because we're not post-secondary adult vocational.
Okay.
You can put your own curriculum in. I was like, cool, that's way better. Yeah. So that's when I started going out and meeting with employers saying, what are the skills that you need? Because this outdated curriculum or these mandated guidelines and checks and balances and stuff are like, it's not applicable to most of the people in the industry. What are the skills you need? Okay, cool. Then I started, Hobart, picking and choosing. I'd get a little bit from Lincoln ULink. I'd pull some from Miller Open Books. I'd pull some from NCCER. I pulled some information out of the code books, and I just started splicing everything together, building my own PowerPoints, tests, and all that stuff, and teaching it that way. So the cool thing is now that we got Underground Metalworks, I've already created the curriculum for 90% of the stuff I want to teach. I just port that right in
and rock and roll
and teach it. I mean, I don't have to give them a test at the end of the week, but
yeah. And for you, Kevin, with you're trying to find employees, you're trying to find workers. Do you rely on schools like Jason's? Are you looking for people that have a program under their belt? Are you looking for fresh, clean, just laborers that you can train up? What is it that you'd look for from an educational center?
What we hire for is attitude and the talent that you have. Where you got that talent, I don't really care.
Well, talent or skill? Because there's a difference.
Yeah. Oh, both.
Yeah.
Both.
Yeah.
So some of the guys that we've had, like, my foreman Dylan, he's got no formal training, but man, he is a rock star. Absolute killer. Really. And I'm not saying that because he's sitting right there.
We're going to have to put a picture of him up right when you say that right when we release this on YouTube. Just like.
Yeah. So, we have hired out of schools. Actually, one of our really good guys, he's just a workhorse. We hired him right out of school. He's a good welder. He's a good fabricator. He's not to that great level yet, but he just gets it done. And I really appreciate that. Yeah. So we look from all around. A lot of the schools by us, they're just welding. There's no fabrication in that program at all. That is a problem for us.
That's a problem across the entire U.S. There is not a fabrication program, or there might be, but
there's a couple schools that go in depth on fab.
But a couple schools over 330 million people,
right?
That's not enough.
But those
not enough.
It's very specialty type classes.
So I'll value your work experience and your skill over your credential of the weld. Like I'm okay with average welds for what we do. I'm okay with that. Like they don't have to be above and beyond. I want you to be able to make a square box. I want you to cut that well. I want you to take pride in how you do it. You're not filling big gaps. So I'll hire that over anything else. That your work ethic, showing up, like all the soft skills that so hard to teach. Well, man, we had a guy. He would work for us for 10 hours a day and then go bale hay until the sun came down. He would do anything. Shout out to Kyle, man. He was awesome.
Keep it up, Kyle.
Really, really awesome.
Hearing good things.
So, but so as for us, I try not to hire out of the schools because I value the fabrication, because 90% of what we do is fabrication. 10% is welding.
Yeah.
And
if there was a fab school, would you look at that?
Oh my gosh, yeah. Oh my! I think there is one. There's one out west, it's called the Fab School.
Yeah.
I think they kind of
based out of California.
Yeah, they kind of, from what I see, it looks like they tailor more towards like the racing.
Yeah, it looks a lot of sheet metal work too.
Okay,
not
industrial.
Stuff like that. Man, if you had a railing and stair school, I would I'd be the number one customer.
Guess what YouTube videos we're making? I'm dropping secrets right now.
Doing
but
stairs and handrails?
Yeah, we're doing sales and handrail
Nice.
videos next week on how to tips and tricks on doing that.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah,
cool.
because it comes up all the time. I field emails all the time from companies being like,
Yeah.
man, like just running stringers, rise over run, getting people to understand how to do this. Could you help us? And I was like, so we finally was like, okay, we got to do a video about this.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a big problem.
Yeah.
You know?
It's a huge problem, and they're everywhere. Everybody needs stairs. Everybody needs rails. They're all, and if you're in the metal industry, they need to be repaired. They're rusted out. New construction, remodeling, everything. It's a great place to be into, but good luck trying to find a guy who can lay that out by hand.
I made a lot of money doing stairs and handrail repairs out in the field because nobody does it.
Yeah. I did
$75
rails.
a step.
Yeah, I did rails for bars and hangers for TVs at bars for years. That was the easiest money I ever made, man. And it's just measurements and angles, and it's like a couple jigs later, it's gravy town.
Yeah. Now, Kevin, you got the Fabricator Olympics coming up in your shop at when is that?
October 7th.
Okay, tell me a little bit about that event.
So that it escalated pretty quickly.
That got out of hand.
It did get a little out of hand. So what we're doing is because we love the fabrication side of things, and that's really where we're at. There's a lot of welding competitions out there, and they do have a little bit of fab in. We have 30 spots for competitors, and what we're doing is there is welding incorporated, but you're not graded on your welding at all. It's your fabrication skills. So we have 6 challenges. So of the 30 competitors, we have 6 challenges, and it's a point system, and the challenges, they're really basic. Anybody can do them, but you're graded on your time and your accuracy. So anybody can do it, but the skilled fabricators come with time and accuracy. So we've got that, and then the top 5 point earners go on to do a head-to-head competition against each other. So Lincoln stepped up. They sponsored the whole thing. Actually, the pallet of welders is dropping at the shop tomorrow. So we've got 5 180Is there. With all the same grinders, all the same hoods, all the same tables, fixtures, squares, everything like that. So it's a level playing field, and it's a simple, basic fabrication. Like that one's a little bit more complicated, but fastest time wins. I mean, you've got a tolerance that it has to be in, and the winner of that gets a brand new Lincoln 180i and $1,000 cash.
Holy.
Yeah.
So now that you got these 30 fabricators in your shop building this equipment, and you're looking for welders, you're looking for fabricators.
Go figure. I've got a banner that says we're hiring.
Okay. I was going to ask.
I've got their phone numbers, their emails. I got everything like that. So
I was going to ask, are you going to like offer the first place winner a job? Because that's the thing with a lot of these welding competitions, welding and fabrication competitions.
They winners get jobs, man.
The employers aren't there.
What?
Yeah. Right? Like, why would you not want to go there and
what about
poach number
skills?
one?
What about Skills US? Because like at Skills Canada, it's like Poach Town.
No,
like in
that's-
Skills
I was
Canada,
talking to a lot of
province
the-
to province, they come to every skills competition. They're like, "Who are your top 10 welders?" And then,
Yeah. I was talking to like the skills competitors for World Skills and Skills Nationals.
Yeah.
You would think the employers would be lined up out the door because that is a fabrication project. That is a welding project. That is a high
Stainless,
stress
aluminum,
Yeah, it's a high
pressure
stress.
pipe,
It's a
yeah.
high stress environment. The welds are pressure tested.
Yeah.
They're actually grading micro porosity when they do fillet weld break test. So I mean, like it is so stringent. You know, even if you get
And they're
somebody that's like
18 and
7th
19
place,
years old.
you know, I mean,
Yeah.
you can take somebody with that work ethic, the amount of time and effort and energy it takes to just practice for that competition. You know, some of these guys are practicing 14, 15, 16 hours a day. Okay, you've got work ethic, you've got dedication. How about I offer you a job?
Yeah.
I give you a spot in my company.
Absolutely. I mean, it's not an automatic job offer because like we hire for the attitude and the personality too. Honestly, that's number one for us.
Yeah.
So our hiring process is first you talk to Melissa. If you pass the phone interview, then you come in for a fab test. Most of the time, I don't even do the fab test. Somebody else does it. And if you pass the fab test, by the time you get to me, you're 3/4 of the way hired already.
Yeah.
But so they're not. They might be really, really good, but they might not be a good fit for our shop.
Yeah.
But it's low key. It is a hiring tactic for us,
Not so low key.
It didn't start out as that, but it has become, well, if we've got the best fabricators around, why not? Like, that's a great draw for bringing people in.
Are we releasing this before the Fab Olympics or after?
I don't know. When are we doing this?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll talk about that off air.
Okay, well, I was just wondering because I was wondering what the projects are. But if this comes out before, I don't want you to
I'm not telling anybody what the projects are.
Oh,
yeah.
We'll talk later.
I'm supposed to judge. I don't even know.
That's the beauty of it. Is that like nobody knows what they are. Like I've got it written down. I know what they are, but I don't want people practicing.
That's right.
Because I want somebody like a true fabricator to win. Not somebody who just practiced on that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you get a job in the shop, nobody practiced on building it. I mean, like you get to build it one time, and you need to build it right, and you need to build it fast.
Exactly.
So you're gonna have like a rubric that's like you lose a point for every 30-second doubt, or like how do you develop the point system?
Yeah. So the point system is it's not all about the time. It's I'm trying to answer that question without leading into what we're doing. But yes, so we have 30 competitors, 6 challenges. We're going to break them into groups of 5. You're still competing individually, but we have 6 independent judges. Jason actually being one of them.
No, I wanted to get there, I couldn't.
Yeah, I know.
He threw out the great invite.
I know. And like I tried. I worked my calendar. I couldn't do it.
You're right. Maybe next year.
For sure.
We are going to do this an annual thing. So each one of the challenges is going to have its own judge and the way that they're supposed to grade. So if you're so far out of square on that's so many points off, and then you add up the points at the end, and that's your score. So.
All right. That sounds fun. And this is all in one day.
All in one day. Saturday, October 7th, Pennsylvania, Quakertown, Pennsylvania. If you want more information, it's fabricatorolympics.com. And you can buy tickets on there. It's $100 to get in, but we're limited to 30 competitors. And, the prizes are well worth the money.
Yeah.
And see what happens. As of last week, we just started promoting this like a week and a half ago.
Yeah.
And we have 22 spots open still.
So you got 8 in.
We got 8 in so far.
But you still got 3 weeks, 2.5 weeks.
Yeah. And we have a guy, he's actually a listener of my podcast. I've never talked to him. He lives out in Oregon. He's flying in.
Oh, wild.
Yeah, he bought a ticket. He's like, man, I'll see you there. I was like,
he must think he's going to win.
That's
he must
cool.
think he's
I sure hope
he's
so,
put his
man.
money where his mouth is.
Yeah.
If you're flying from Oregon, I really want you to win. So.
And as an ignorant Canadian, I have no idea how far Oregon is from Quakertown, Pennsylvania, but
it's really, really far.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
It's like if it's a 20-minute plane ride, it doesn't sound so bad, but
no.
Yeah.
I mean, Oregon's probably 2/3 of the way across the country, if not more.
It'd be from like middle Canada to East Coast.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah,
crazy.
Exactly. So I'm excited about it. There's a lot of buzz about it. We have a lot of people interested. I think everybody's a little bit intimidated to sign up because they're like Fabricator Olympics. Our tagline is you're only the best if you can prove it. And everybody is,
That's pretty hardcore.
Like, it sounds pretty hardcore. And everybody's like, well, I'm good. Like as much as like egos as welders have, everybody's a little bit intimidated. But really, the challenges are really basic. It's just about speed and accuracy. Well, that's it for this episode, guys. I appreciate you guys listening in. Tune back in next week over on the CWB Association podcast for episode number 3 of our talk. We did a live Q&A with the audience on that one, and I think you'll really like it. Don't forget to check us all out on social media. You can find me at JMW Fabrication. You can find Max at CWB Group Welding. And you can find Jason over at Arc Junkies Podcast. Until next time, get out there, get it done, and get it invoiced.